Good evening, I'm Marty Callahan, I'm president of the Rotary Club of Jasper. I'd like to welcome you to our second annual Public Safety Appreciation Dinner, honoring our heroes. Our combined efforts of the Georgia Mountain Hospice, led by Gina Finley, and our Jasper Rotary Club appreciate and welcome you here. I'd like to recognize our special guests that are here. First, we'll start with who's here, and then we'll go from there. Mayor Steve Lawrence, would you please stand? The City Council is here. Jim Looney, please stand. Ann Stevie, Senator Proctor, Kurt Rayfield, and John Bass. Thank you all. I'd also like to recognize our commissioners. We have Chris Stansel, Chairman. Josh Tippins, West Side, and Josh Taylor, East Side. Thank you all. We have a couple other guests that will be here to arrive shortly, but we'll recognize those in a minute. Gina?
I have to get the box to stand. I'll tiptoe. First off, I just want to thank everybody for being here. We really appreciate what you do. I work with Georgia Mountains Hospice, and over the years you've been so kind to us to help with patients or whatever we needed. So I just hope that you enjoy it, and it means as much to you as all of you do to us. We just want to say thank you very much.
We have a special guest that's going to come to us by video, if you'd like to see the screens.
Hello, this is Governor Brian Kemp. I'm honored to join you in celebrating the public safety officers and personnel of Pickens County. In Georgia, we're proud to support our law enforcement and first responders. That will always be the case while I'm your governor. To the men and women in uniform who protect and serve our fellow Georgians, thank you for what you do. Whether providing a calming presence or taking decisive action to save lives, your jobs are incredibly important for those in need. While the past few years have brought new challenges, you have met the moment and continue to put the security and well-being of your fellow Georgians first. So on behalf of the entire state of Georgia, thank you for all you do. God bless and stay safe.
All right, and I'm going to ask that Terry, or we know him as Sarge Bishop, to come up, and if you'll please stand and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I just want you to know how humbled I am to be here with these first responders who are the greatest in the state of Georgia. Now, if you'll please join me in saluting our great state, our great United States. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Max.
All right, and Max Taylor will be here with our invocation, and after our invocation, we'll start eating.
Again, we thank you for how you live, what you do as a profession. We do not have the words to express that appreciation, but as service organizations, as Rotarians serving in the community and around the world, and for Georgia Mountain Hospice, who too are in service to people with great needs, we share this calling with you of making a difference in the lives of people. So thank you for who you are and what you do. Let's pray. O Lord, our Lord, how majestic is your name in all the earth. We gather this night thanking you for the gift of life and for a group of men and women who have heard a call to be in service. People who run towards danger than away. people who we as civilians count upon to help us when we're at our wits' end and we need help. And so, Lord, I just thank you for each person, for the job that they do, wherever it may be. I thank you for their families at home who provide encouragement, who just live with the threat all the time, but yet are supportive in what they do and what they are about. Again, we thank you for this community, for our leaders in government. We thank you for our state leaders. We especially express our thanks for those men and women of the military who serve and protect us. So tonight, dear Lord, give us your grace and peace as we celebrate life and service. We pray in Jesus' name, and everybody said, amen.
All right, we will start with dinner, and I believe the bench tree table has a out in there got to get to first. No, let's
we
check.
want to thank Bethany, but they've cut up the ship's cover, so they don't have to go.
No, I have to go first. Okay. Well, who wants to go first?
It doesn't matter.
We'll let our speaker and our governor, our judge there go first because he's got to speak. So we'll let him get his food down first, and then the buffet will start through the line. Thank Shade Tree Barbecue for their great barbecue that they brought today. We also have dessert. We have cake out on the right side. So if you'd like to get a piece of sheet cake. And also now we're going to ask Brett Jasperse, our state representative, to come up and introduce our speaker.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here tonight. I was driving from Augusta a little while ago. Just think about the history I have with a lot of you folks. I've known many of you really all our lives. But I just want to tell you thank you. From my wife Marcia and I, from our family to your families, we thank you. We live in a great community that supports you day in and day out. And I hope you know it, may not some days, but I want you to know that the folks that I run around with and talk to really appreciate the work you and your families do. And I stress the families because it's part of it. And I just appreciate it. I have to tell you something funny though. Tell you how old I am technology-wise. Senator Gooch and I have a little video we were going to play too. Well, when he sent them to me, his was sideways. And I couldn't figure out how to get him straight up, so I said, well, I'm not going to show that. Then mine was upside down. And I don't know how to fix that either. But Senator Gooch couldn't come tonight. He was elected to a very important position in the Senate last weekend, and so he's like scrambling to catch up and do that. He sends his greetings too. And just for me, if you drive past me and my truck with a beat sticker on the front of the tag, you'll notice I wave at you. I do. And it's just a habit. I wish everybody would do that. It's just as I see you driving past and, an ambulance, you don't know who I am, but you'll see me wave at you. And it's sincere thanks. Every time I see them, I know that we're not giving you the finger, that might be what you're thinking, but it's not. It's just a sincere thanks of every time I see you driving around. Now some of y'all in dark out cars, I don't know if you just, what I'm doing, but I just want to tell you thanks for me. When Gina and him asked me to get a public speaker, get somebody to speak to tonight, I have this friend, Alan Powell, and he's quite a character in Capitol, and I served on the Public Safety Committee with him. I still do, but he was the chairman back then. And Alan Powell is a cigar-smoking man. And so when I talked to him a month or two ago, it's like this, just eat Skandalakis is the only guy you need. Get him to do it, and he'll do a great job. And it's true. I think you'll enjoy our speaker tonight. And Alan Powell, just a great man, just really thinks so much of him. Pete's a career prosecutor. And when I first wrote that, I wrote down politician. I don't know why I did that, but he's not. He's a career prosecutor. I like the sound of those words. In the world we're in today, prosecution is important. I know we think it's important up here. We battle it in Atlanta, but I think we'll hear some of that today. But he's dedicated his life to putting people behind bars. And I appreciate that, Pete. You know, when Pete started off in Coweta County, I'm sure as the assistant district attorney there, he had this great big office. You know, he did, I'm sure. Just one little bitty office, desk. Did you even have a computer back then?
No, sir.
No computers back then. You know, he is overworked, underpaid as an assistant district attorney in Coweta County. But he must have loved it. Still loved the thrill of working there because he stayed there. He's promoted very quickly, and 6 or 8 years later, is appointed the district attorney and then elected to that position for 6 terms. So the people there thought a lot of you. This is great. You know, we know that district attorneys have the responsibility of prosecuting felonies and misdemeanors. And I hope you tell some stories, Pete, of the things that you've done. But one thing when I was reading about Pete Skandalakis was he went after cold cases. And you know, if you're a family member that's had a tragedy happen in your life, the district attorney, law enforcement that keeps that fire burning and helps you find a solution has got to be a wonderful thing. Well, I know it is. You know, when you look at what Pete did in victims, I know they must have a special place in his heart because he created the largest victims assistance program in Coweta County. It went from 1 person to 8 helping victims, and I know that's very important. And you know, in our capital, you know, we take crime against children very seriously. And I know he worked very hard a few years ago, but changed the criminal statute, required life in prison for those people convicted of second and subsequent child molestation cases. You know, I see Pete at the Capitol every day. If you've ever come to see me, my office is down on the 2nd floor. We walk up the same stairs. Pete's always at the top of the stairs, which is a good place to be because you can't get away from him. And because you got to get up the stairs. Because he's there promoting the work of the district attorney's council and making sure that we mistakenly or accidentally, or some people on purpose, don't undermine the work that they do every day. You know, Pete's born in Atlanta, by Greek parents, great Greek name. And he and his wife live in LaGrange, got 6 kids and 6 grandchildren. And I welcome you to Pickens County, where we love you and the work that you have done. Let's welcome Pete to Pickens County.
Thank you, Chairman Jasperse. I appreciate that. I appreciate the introduction. What an honor it is to be here today and be with public safety, but I know where I rank. And I'll tell you, when it comes to public safety, detectives, investigators, and as an assistant DA and a prosecutor, I know exactly where I rank, and I learned that early because I was trying a murder case. It was a murder armed robbery case. And it took us a week to try that case. And the 2 lead investigators, one was a GBI agent, the other was a sheriff's investigator. And as we waited for the jury to come back, we finished the case late in the evening, and the judge said, we're going to break for dinner. So the GBI agent and the sheriff's investigator said, hey, Pete, let's go grab a bite to eat. I said, I'd love to. So we go out to grab a bite to eat. And we go to this restaurant and we stand in line. It's kind of a cafe, a buffet type thing. We stand in line as the GBI agent gets to the front of the line where the cashier is. She says it's $10.50. He says, I'm a GBI agent. She says, well, then that'll be $5. So the sheriff's investigator's next. He gets up there and she says, that'll be $10.50. He goes, well, I'm the sheriff's investigator. She goes, well, that's $5. So then I get up there and she says, that'll be $10.50. And I said, well, I'm an assistant DA. I'm with the DA's office. She said, that'll be $10.50. So I learned a long time ago that when it comes to where I rank, I'm not as high as public safety, and that's okay. I don't blame them at all. I'm not the person out there at night. I'm not the person working on vacation days. I'm not the person out there who answers calls at 6 a.m. I'm the person that you come to the office and you talk about your case. Sometimes I have good news for you. Sometimes I have bad news for you. But I'll get into that too as we go on. Ms. Gina said that I could speak as long as I wanted to. I'm a lawyer, and I said, you don't want to say that to a lawyer, okay? So I'm not going to speak for very long because I know this award, this day, is to recognize public safety officials. And that's what it ought to be. But I do want to thank some people first. I want to thank the Rotary Club and the Rotary Club members for the fine work you do in the community. Quite frankly, if we had more Rotary Club members, if we had more civic organizations, if we had more people involved in the community and giving back the way you do, you'd have less need for prosecutors. And that's the one thing that I've always wanted, to have fewer prosecutors in the state and more churches, more synagogues, more places where children can be safe. So I appreciate the Rotary Club. I appreciate Chairman Jasperse and the work he does at the state capitol. I hope you understand how much it means to have someone that speaks as Representative Jasper does, and then everybody listens. It's a person that who speaks the truth, and he speaks to the truth, and we appreciate that. They are easy to deal with, and I appreciate you for your support and for your kindness and for the manner you've always treated me, and I appreciate that so much. I also appreciate the public safety workers here, each and every one of them. And I got an opportunity to meet an old friend. Where's Mark? I got an opportunity. Mark and I started back in the 80s. Mark, stand up, brother. And he was in Carroll County working for Sheriff Jack Bell. He came up to me. I recognized the face, but at my age, I couldn't put a name with the face. Mark was gracious enough to let me know, but Mark and I go back a long way. So I'm going to tell you some stories. Mark might tell you the other side of the story, okay? Sheriff, I appreciate you too. Appreciate the work you do. Appreciate the work you all do. And I really want to appreciate and take time to say to the spouses, the partners, the children, the family members who are here on behalf of public safety. We understand that you sacrifice a lot. We understand that there's some vacations, some holidays that your partner, your spouse has to work. Your father has to work. Your mother has to work. And she or he can't be at that dinner table with you. And we understand that sometimes it gets a little bit nerve-wracking when you hear what they're putting up with every day. And we also understand, and I understand, what it's like to turn on the news and hear everybody painted with the same brush. When you know for a fact that a majority of the public safety officers, the public safety personnel, are good, hard-working men and women that get up every day and do a job with very little appreciation. So we thank the family members. I want to tell you I'm humbled and honored to be here today to address public safety personnel. But before I do that, I want to tell you a little bit about my roots. I want to tell you about my father and my mother. My father was born in Molai, Greece, which is in Sparta. I know many of you have heard Sparta. You've probably seen the 300 Spartans. My dad could have been one of those actors in that. He was over 6 feet tall, 190 pounds. I remember when I was 35, 36 years old, 37, and my dad was in his hospital bed. He was passing away. And I held his hand, and his hand literally swallowed my hand. And that just reminded me how tall and big he was. He had all his hair, full head of hair when he passed. My mom was short. She was from Greece too. She was short, about 5'1", 5'2". Everybody on her side of the family is bald, including her sisters. So y'all can see I got my mom's genes, bald and short, didn't get any tall in hair. But one of the things that my dad, during the Nazi occupation, he lived in the mountains of Greece and Malaya, and I had recently been to where his family lived. And in fact, down the whole mountainside, there's a Skandalakis house, another Skandalakis house, another Skandalakis house, and you could see where the family lived. But during the Nazi occupation, a civil war broke out between the Greek communists and the Greek nationalists. And my father was on the side of the Greek nationalists. And it was during this time that a battle broke out in his hometown, in his village. In this battle, there was a Greek Orthodox church that was on a hilltop, and just below the hilltop was my father's house. And the communists had taken the top, and they were shooting down into my father's house. And my grandfather, who I'm named after, Peter John, they were firing back up the hill at the communists as my father, my grandmother, my aunts and uncles were all being evacuated from that house, and they were being sent down to the other Skandalakis house in the retreat. It was during this time that my grandfather was wounded, and as he was going down the house, down the street, the communists caught up with him, and he was repeatedly stabbed to death on the doorway in front of my father and my grandmother. My father was captured that night and scheduled to be executed. My grandmother went and begged for his life, and the communist soldiers allowed my father to leave. And he joined the resistance force, and he fought against Greek communists. Then after World War II finished, about in the late 40s, early 50s, my dad immigrated to Marietta, Georgia. My mom lived in Marietta, Georgia at that time. The way they met is one of the relatives sent a picture of my father to my mother. She thought he was good looking. She said, "Yeah, I'll marry him." He came over and they got married. My dad worked 2 jobs. He worked 2 jobs, brought every one of his brothers and sisters over. We all lived at one time in one house. I mean, he brought my Uncle Danny over, my Uncle Reno over, my Aunt Tasia, my Aunt Popey, my Aunt Matula, my Yaya, my grandmother, Marika. All of them come over. And the one thing my dad would always preach to us, to me and my brothers, I had 2 younger brothers, I had an older sister, and by the way, my older sister was the apple of my dad's eye. She could do nothing. She could steal me blind in front of him, and he would say it was my fault. But he would never lose an opportunity to tell me and infuse upon me and my brothers that this is the greatest country on earth, and to respect law enforcement, to respect the military, and to respect teachers. That's all he said. I remember one time I came home from high school, I said, "Dad, my history teacher doesn't like me." And history was one of my best grades. I used to make an A all the time. I said, "Dad, my history teacher doesn't like me." He looked at me and he said, "Son," he goes, "you're going to find out in life people don't like you sometimes. You got to deal with that. You've got to work harder." I thought, hell, he didn't even go up to the school to complain. He just said, "You're going to work harder." My Uncle John, who also fought against the Nazis and fought against the communists, was a doctor. He came over here as a doctor. In fact, he was a doctor for a long time for the State Patrol. He had even an honorary State Patrol badge. And the only thing that allowed him to do was drive his black Cadillac at about 100 miles an hour. And every time the State Patrol would pull him over, he'd show that State Patrol badge. And you know what? They let him go. But you know, it was the best roller coaster ride you've ever had in your life. He would put my cousin and I in the back seat and say, "Come on, we're going to the hospital," while I do my rounds. He had a steep driveway. He would go down this driveway, never hit the brakes. Never hit the brakes. But I remember them, and that's who raised me. When I told my dad I was going to be a prosecutor, he asked me in his own Greek way, he goes, "What does a prosecutor do, son?" I said, "Well, Dad, the police arrest him, They then bring me the case file. I look at the case file and I decide whether or not there's sufficient evidence. And if there's sufficient evidence, Dad, I take him to trial. And if I can prove him guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, then the guy's convicted. And he might go to jail, he might get probation. My dad looked at me and goes, well, it sounds like your job's a waste of taxpayer money. I said, well, what do you mean a waste of taxpayer money, Dad? He goes, well, if the police arrested him, he's already guilty. I said, yeah, but Dad, I said, I got to prove him guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. He goes, well, that's a waste of money. He goes, in Greece, if a man commits a crime, we chop off a hand. If he commits another crime, we chop off the other hand. If he commits another crime, we kill him. I said, Dad, no jury trial, no guilt beyond a reasonable doubt? What if you make a mistake? He goes, sometimes we make mistakes, but the crime rate is low. I also want to tell you about public safety personnel. I understand a little bit about investigations. I was involved in 2 investigations myself. So most of the time, a police officer would just drop off the file to me, but twice I was a participant in an investigation. The first time I had worked real late at the DA's office in my little cubby hole. And it was late and I decided I was going to go out and get a hamburger at Wendy's. So I go to Wendy's, eat my hamburger, then I go back to the office. A few minutes later, I get a call on my phone. It says, hey, Pete, this is Randy. I said, hey, Randy. He goes, you were at Wendy's, weren't you? I said, yeah, I was at Wendy's. By the way, Randy was the head of our narcotics task force. I said, yeah, I was at Wendy's. Why didn't y'all join me? He goes, see the 2 guys sitting behind you? I said, no, I didn't notice 2 guys sitting behind you. He goes, well, they were doing a drug deal and we had them under observation. So you might be in the video too. I said, well, thanks a lot. My second one was I was at work and a police officer comes up to me and says, hey, Pete, you were at the Dollar General last night, weren't you? I said, yeah, I was at the Dollar General last night. He goes, well, you know that person you opened the door to, they had the buggy, and you let them out? Yeah. Well, they shoplifted all that stuff, and so we might have you to identify it. And I said, I don't remember what he looked like. But we're not here to talk about me. We're here to talk about you guys and gals who do this job. We're here to talk about the commitment you have to the community, the commitment you have to the state. And we're here to honor you and respect you. Albert Einstein said, I believe in one thing, that only a life lived for others is a life worth living. I believe in one thing, that only a life lived for others is a life worth living. When I think about public safety personnel, that is the quote that comes to mind every time, because that is what you are doing. You are living a life for others, and your life has meaning. It has meaning to the community, it has meaning to children, it has meaning to all of us that are here in this room to honor you. And I thank you for our freedom. You know, one of the things that bothers me today, more than anything else, is you seldom hear people talk about freedom and liberty. And without law enforcement, without public safety personnel, we cannot have freedom. The government has a lot of roles, and I'm not going to list them in order, because I'm going to tell you, if you look it up what the role of government is, depending upon what website you go, you'll get all different responses. But it really has 4 basic roles. Provide public services like libraries, schools, and parks. Guide the community, manage the economy, and conduct foreign relations. And then keeping order, laws, making laws, law enforcement in the courts, and then provide security, prevent crime, and protect citizens from foreign attacks. However, those things that government does cannot be done unless you provide security, prevent crime, and protect citizens from foreign and domestic attacks. The only reason we are free today is because men and women have put on a uniform, either in the military or here at public safety, and have said, I am going to be that protection for you. I am going to make sure that your rights are protected. I am going to make sure that every one of the Bill of Rights that our founding fathers put in the Constitution is going to be protected. You cannot have freedom or liberty without a government willing to provide security to protect the rights of law-abiding citizens. It can't be done. And we saw what happened just a couple of years ago when some politicians decided that they were going to allow protesters to become violent and take over streets. How in the world is that a law-abiding community? There's a little girl who's dead today in Atlanta, Georgia, because public officials decided they were going to have law enforcement stand down after the case in which police officers used force on a man named Rashard Brooks. And so they allowed gang members to take over a block, a street in Atlanta, Georgia, armed gang members, and told law enforcement to stand down. You cannot have a free society, you cannot be free, you cannot have liberty if we don't support the men and women in public safety. You just can't have it. You can't have the freedom of speech. There's no right to peaceful assembly. There's no right to worship. There's no right to vote or any other rights in our Constitution without peace and security. Someone has to do it. And now I'm talking to you public safety people, and I'm talking to you directly, and I hope you hear me loud and clear, because I want you to know this. We love you, we respect you, and we need you. We love you, we respect you, and we need you. I'm not a big guy. I'm more like my mom. My brother was a big guy. My brother was a real big guy. He liked to fight. I don't like to fight. I'll fight in the courtroom, and sometimes I'll even fight with county commissioners to try to get more things. That was always a lot of fun. I'll fight in the courtroom for your rights. But by God, you guys that go out there and fight fires, patrol the streets, go into neighborhoods, are called sometimes to see the worst of the worst in human beings, we need you. We need you today more than we've ever needed anybody. Don't listen to the naysayers, don't listen to the instigators, and don't listen to the media and the detractors. You are in a respected profession. And let me tell you how respected you are. In something called ZETI, which is a career and resume building website, they did professional respect rankings. That is, where do people rank in respect? 7 out of 10 people hold public safety in high regards. 7 out of 10. If you were to listen to the media, you would think that number was 3 out of 10, but it's not. It's 7 out of 10. And think about this, it's 7 out of 10, even though for 2 years, all we talk about are bad cops. Not mentioning how many good public safety officers we have. Doctors are first, scientists, firefighters rank up there too. 8 out of 10 really like firefighters. I think that's because y'all look better on some of these calendars than some of the public safety. The police officers right up there now. Behind police officers, lawyers, about 6 out of 10 like lawyers, okay? That's really higher than I thought we'd be, so I'm good with that. Accountants are below lawyers. I would have never guessed that. Accountants below lawyers. Professional athletes are below public safety. And we get down, this is surprising, members of the clergy and religious leaders. Only 5 out of 10 people have a tremendous amount of respect for clergy and religious leaders. I don't understand that, okay? When you get down to the bottom, though, Who do y'all think's at the bottom? Congress. Congress is at the bottom. Only 4 of 10 people respect the job that Congress does. 4 out of 10. Congress is below reality stars and social media influencers, which I don't understand social media influencers. You're doing good deeds every day. Every day you're doing good deeds. And why is it that people respect law enforcement, public safety, firefighters? Why is it that they respect you? Because 3 of the highest measurements of what it means to have a good job, a job that's respected, fall right in line with what you're doing. Caring for others, trustworthiness, being essential to society. When you think about it, that's exactly what it means to be a public safety official. Being essential to society. You know, I told you about my mom, and this is a good time to tell you about what they think of lawyers, my mom and my dad. So, in 1992, when I was elected DA, we had the largest seizure that we've ever had. The GBI was flying interdiction, and their helicopter went over what the first pilot thought was a Christmas tree farm. Second pilot said, "No, that's not a Christmas tree farm. Let's get closer for a look." So they swooped down there to get closer for a look, and sure enough, it's a huge marijuana farm. And as the helicopter gets closer, and the helicopter is telling the ground units where to go, a guy comes out of the house and he's waving at the helicopter like this. And he's telling him to come on down, come on down. Sure enough, sheriff's patrols pull in there, and the guy goes out there to meet him. And the sheriff gets out and says, "What's going on here?" He goes, "Well, y'all got my marijuana farm." And the sheriff says, "Do you want me to read you your rights?" He goes, "Nope, don't need my rights read. This is my marijuana farm. I've been growing this marijuana. I fell behind on some bills. This was a good cash crop for me. And this is what I'm doing." He goes, "Well, do you understand you're going to be arrested?" He goes, "Yep." "You understand we're going to take your farm?" "Yep." Okay, so we took the farm, sold the farm equipment, and with that money in 1992, we bought the first car ever for the DA's office. We had 5 counties, so that was our first car. Had a big old bag phone in it. How many young people have ever seen a bag phone? Okay, well that's what I thought. Had a big old bag phone in it. So one day I'm in Coweta County, I'm in court, and I get a call from my mom. My mom says, "Pete, your dad's sick. He's been rushed to the hospital. Can you come pick me up?" I said, "Sure, Mom, I'll come get you." So I drove over there, went inside, walked my mom out. She sees this white Crown Victoria. She goes, "Son, you have a new car." I said, "Yeah, Mom, we got it from a drug dealer." She said, "Don't tell your dad that. He'll be so disappointed in you." I said, "No, Mom, I'm not on the tape. That's not what I'm doing." That's, again, what they think of lawyers. All 3 of the top 3, caring for others, trustworthiness, being essential to society, all 3 of those equal public safety personnel. As I conclude, I will end with where I started, with Albert Einstein. I believe in one thing, that only a life lived for others is a life worth living. You, my brothers and sisters in public safety, you live for others. And you are most definitely experiencing a life worth living. And for that, we thank you. We wish you the best. We wish you safety, and God bless you. Thank you so much.
Okay, moving right along. There's plenty of cake. That's my job. And I'm going to introduce our elected, a good friend of mine, David Lindsay, judge, probate court. Come up and he's going to do our presentations.
asked me to introduce each department's Employee of the Year this evening. And before I do that, I just want to say, on a personal basis, I have the honor and the privilege to work with most of the individuals in this room on a fairly regular basis. And I can honestly tell you that Pickens County is blessed to have department heads, elected officials, and employees, all from top down to bottom, that really and sincerely care about the county and care about making this community better. I go to other counties to hear cases, and I talk to other judges, and I can promise you that's not the case in every county in this state. So Pickens County is I'm humbled to be here, I'm happy to be here, and we have some of the best public service employees in the state. I can promise you that. I know if any public safety folks get a call in the middle of the night, it's generally not a call to say, hey, thank you, you're doing a great job. It's usually a call where it's a complaint or for you to get out there and do something. And so I thank the Rotary Club, and I want to thank Georgia Mountains Hospice for putting on this event tonight, because it's important to let you guys know how much we appreciate you, and how important it is for the job that you do. That being said, I'm going to introduce the Employees of the Year. And when I call your name, please come up and stand. Okay. Entries, Public Safety's Employee of the Year is Daniel Childers. Daniel, if you'll come on up. Public Safety has selected Sergeant Daniel Childers as Employee of the Year because of his exceptional service to the community, county, and department throughout 2022. Sergeant Childers is a Jasper native and was taught firefighting skills at a young age by his father, Pat Childers. Daniel's younger brother, Bryson, is also on track to become a firefighter because of Pat's leadership and guidance. Sergeant Childers became a certified firefighter at age 20 and joined the Bentry Public Safety team shortly thereafter. He quickly demonstrated qualities worthy of a supervisory role and was promoted to sergeant in June of this year. Sergeant Childers consistently uses his time off to assist with Bentry fire rescue training, special projects, and other department needs. He also volunteers when off duty with the Bethany Salem Fire Department to assist with the fire incidents in Pickens County. During a community event in October, Sergeant Childers spent time educating children on the importance of fire safety in the Pickens County Fire Safety Funhouse. Throughout 2022, he received commendations related to critical call response, work ethic, dedication, and initiative. Sergeant Childers has served as a tremendous example to fellow Bentry employees. His actions on and off duty reflect favorably upon the department. Sergeant Childers is well deserving of the honor to be named Bentry Employee of the Year for 2022. Bethany Salem Fire Department's Employee of the Year is Marty Moore. Marty and his wife, LaShawn, live in Jasper. They have 3 sons and 2 precious granddaughters. Marty was talked into joining the fire service after being the mechanic for several of the firefighters and working on the county vehicles. Marty became a certified firefighter in 2018 and has not slowed down since. In addition to the training and responding to calls as a volunteer, Marty spends countless hours long after his repair shop closes working on equipment, projects around the fire station, and riding as a volunteer on the county trucks to supply extra manpower. Marty has proven himself to be a leader in fire service, being promoted to lieutenant in 2020. I've never heard him speak the cross word. He and LaShawn are lovely Christian role models to our younger members. In summary, I am reminded of Samuel from the Bible when I think of Marty Moore. He is quick to answer the call and presents himself as a willing servant at the mention of his name. He is ready to serve in whatever way he's asked and does so with a humble and grateful heart. Marty Moore. Thank you. Chattahoochee Technical College Public Safety's Employee of the Year is Alan Hoffman. From 1964 to 1984, Alan dedicated his time serving in the United States Army 5th and 7th Special Forces as a Green Beret. During his 20 years in the Army, he traveled around the world. He was in 3 tours of Vietnam where he was an intel specialist, medic, and was utilized as one of the main weapon handlers. 1984 to 2005, he worked odd jobs after serving in the military, but found himself back in uniform in 2005. Allen began his law enforcement career in 2005 at the Cobb County Sheriff's Office, where he retired in 2016 after 11 years of service. He was an outstanding employee and would go above and beyond to make sure his duties were completed in a timely and professional manner. After leaving Cobb County Sheriff's Office, he took some time out of law enforcement until he came to Chattahoochee Technical College Police Department in 2018. He is currently assigned as a police officer at our North Metro campus, located in Acworth, Georgia. Our department trusts Allen in so many ways, starting with the many critical incidents he has had to work and watching officers smile and learn from him in training sessions. When Allen feels the morale has been compromised, he will light up a room and give words of encouragement. We consider Allen a role model and very deserving of the Chattahoochee Technical College of Public Safety Employee of the Year. Congratulations. Georgia State Patrol's Employee of the Year is Trooper First Class Jamie Wilson. Trooper First Class Jamie Wilson would be our nominee for Employee of the Year for Georgia State Patrol, Post number 28, Jasper, Georgia. Jamie is the definition of a team player here at Post 28. He is always willing to step up for any situation that arises, even if it adds more time and effort to his existing duties. Trooper Wilson has been deployed several times in and around the Atlanta area in the past for initial response team in preparation for civil unrest. Jamie Wilson accepts his responsibilities as a state trooper very seriously and is willing to go where he is needed and handle whatever task is assigned to him without question. Trooper Jamie Williams, thank you. The City of Jasper Fire Department's Employee of the Year is Firefighter John Jones. John Jones is the true definition of a firefighter. He has constantly shown his commitment to serving the citizens of Jasper and Pickens County. John Jones is constantly attending training classes to improve his ability to serve and his knowledge of the job he loves. In addition to the classes he is attending, which are above and beyond his job requirement, he has ignited a passion in others to do the same. Firefighter Jones has started a physical fitness regimen that has led other department members to follow his example and participate with him. While Firefighter Jones excels in performance on calls, his dedication and commitment to preparing and improving his abilities has been unmatched. Because of his dedication, we are nominating Firefighter Jones, John Jones, as Firefighter of the Year 2022. City of Jasper Police Department's Employee of the Year is Tonya Dutton. The Jasper Police Department is nominating Tonya Dutton. Ms. Tonya Dutton has been with the police department for almost 20 years. Tonya is currently the court administrator and the office manager for the police department, making her an integral part of the day-to-day operations of the police department and the municipal court. She has seen and been a part of many changes over the years, some of which include how supplies are ordered, ordering of uniforms, and helping with the reporting system to make sure information is disseminated throughout the department. She not only keeps everything running smoothly, she has become a counselor to many. If asked to describe Tonya in 3 words, I would have to say humble, sympathetic, and dependable. Tonya has no desire to be noticed or praised, but after putting up with the good and the bad for so many years, it is more than time for Tonya to be recognized for all she does. Therefore, we are nominating Ms. Tonya Dutton for Employee of the Year, City of Jasper Police Department, 2022. Pickens County 911 Employee of the Year is Dawn Newsome. When choosing the nomination for this award, and again, this was written by the department heads, I had my own opinions, but wanted to send an employee survey just to confirm. After receiving the surveys, more than half the staff voted for Dawn. Dawn has been a lifelong resident of Pickens County and started her career in 911 in 2016. Dawn has a selfless servant attitude, often helping others cover their overtime shifts. We have had to force Dawn to take her vacation time because she knew we were short-staffed, and her absence with the co-workers in a bind. Dawn has proven to be an asset not only to the center, our 911 staff, and the citizens of Pickens County. We are very fortunate that she has chosen to make this her career. Therefore, we are nominating Dawn Newsome for 911 Communications Officer of the Year. Congratulations. Pickens County Fire Rescue Employee of the Year is Paramedic Firefighter Jeremy Lethco. It's a great honor to recommend Paramedic Firefighter Jeremy Lethco for Pickens County Fire Rescue's Employee of the Year. I've been a firefighter at Lethco's fire chief for the past 6 months, and I can personally attest to his fortitude, professionalism, and passion for providing emergency medical services to our citizens. I, along with firefighter Lethco's peers, have witnessed his exceptional qualities as a leader, motivator, and drive to train our employees to provide the best pre-hospital emergency care possible. Jeremy spends many hours outside his regular work schedule to assist the Georgia Public Safety Training Center with training law enforcement and emergency medical care as well. Over the past few months, in the absence of our EMS training officer, Jeremy has stepped up and devoted many hours outside his normal assigned duties to coordinate EMS training delivery to ensure all department personnel receiving their required state training in preparation for the upcoming state recertification and licensing process. This requires a high level of dedication that is obviously above and beyond what is required of him and is greatly appreciated. At all times, Firefighter Lethco upholds his assigned duties with exceptional discipline and poise. Firefighter Lethco possesses a breadth and depth of knowledge seldom seen at this level, which has an impact on the lives of our citizens. Jeremy has proven himself to be an asset not only in Pickens County Fire Rescue, but to the citizens of Pickens County. I ascribe my highest recommendation to Paramedic Firefighter Lethco to receive the honor of being Pickens County Fire Rescue's Employee of the Year in 2022. Congratulations. Pickens County Sheriff's Office Employee of the Year is Joe Price. Deputy Joe Price has been an employee with the Pickens County Sheriff's Office for the past 3 years. During his tenure here, he has made a huge impact throughout this agency with his dedication and willingness to do whatever is asked of him. He wears many hats here and has worked in the Adult Detention Center, criminal investigations, and as a uniform patrol. While in investigation, he has worked many cases with Pickens County. One important case included the arrest and apprehension of the ATM that was stolen in Hill City. Deputy Price also developed a public safety program to advise senior citizens in our community of internet financial scams directly targeting them. He also put together a presentation and presented it to the Capitol, to the Speaker of the House, David Ralston, and to local banks outlining the scam to their employees. Deputy Price is currently assigned to our patrol division and is honored to be Pickens County Sheriff's Office Public Safety Employee of the Year 2022. So again, congratulations to all those employees of the year. I can't think of a bigger honor to be selected by your peers and by your co-workers as an outstanding employee, and I just appreciate everything that you guys do, so thank you. We have one final award to give, and it is the Medal of Valor Award recipient. The 2022 Public Safety Committee selects this name out of the previously nominated Employee of the Year. And the 2022 Public Safety Committee this year is honored to name Paramedic Firefighter Jeremy Lethco as the Medal of Valor Honor Award recipient. Congratulations. committee just wanted to indicate that Jeremy not only demonstrates professionalism and passion for his job, he goes above and beyond to get the job done. We celebrate Jeremy Lethco and let him know we are proud of him and the work he does for the citizens of Pickens County. Again, Jeremy.
But that's also to put on this event, took a few sponsors, so please, the sponsors are listed in your program. Please thank them, and we'd love to do this again next year. Thinking start again. So Gina, come up, and we've got want to thank a couple of folks. This is for our speaker. Would you like to come up? We have a special local bag of goodies for you.
My wife wants to take.
I know. She'll take the box, right? This is a thank you to you. It's local Pickens County businesses. I had a lot of help in the community. The chamber was very instrumental in helping me get this together, but we just wanted to thank you so much for coming up here.
Thank you so much.
Somebody wrote some nice words at the back of your program, and I think, as it says, there's never enough words, so let's say them together. Thank you for keeping us safe, for risking your life, for risking living our town, for serving our community, for protecting our homes, for everything you do. From the bottom of our hearts, thank you. Have a safe evening. Thank you.